Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. Here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll look at some of the stories affecting Kansas farmers and ranchers. In our Ag Feature, I'll talk with Aaron McKee, the president and CEO of Purple Wave in Manhattan. In Inside Kansas Ag, we'll hear from Brad Parker with the Kansas Soybean Commission, and the Kansas Farm Bureau will stop by and talk salmonella safety. In our News You Need to Know, our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, and we'll look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon. Plus, we're going to let you know about some important events coming up around the state. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Here's some ag news important to you. A new survey of bankers shows 82% of agriculture lenders reported a decline in farm profitability in the last 12 months, but the pace of decline is slowing. The survey, produced twice a year by the American Bankers Association and Farmer Mac, shows 51% of agriculture lenders noting an increase in demand for agricultural operating loan, but really no noticeable change in the demand for agriculture real estate loans. The survey is conducted twice a year and is a joint effort to provide a look at the agricultural economy and market forces from the perspective of ag lenders. Enrollment for Farm Safety Net programs is now open for farmers and ranchers with base acreage in the Ag Risk Coverage, or ARC, or the PLC Price Loss Coverage programs. The enrollment period for the 2018 crop year will be till August 1st of next year. Producers who have made their elections in previous years still need to enroll for the 2018 enrollment period. USDA says producers should contact the Farm Service Agency or your FSA website for more information. The electronic logging device mandate for the trucking industry is expected to go into effect December 18th, causing some predicted impact to the livestock industry. The National Pork Producers Council asking for an exemption based on what it calls an incompatibility between federal hours of operation rules and how the livestock industry actually operates. The mandate will go into effect after years of protest and public debate, but recent surveys actually show 39% of carrier and owner operators are planning to comply with the mandate before the deadline, and another 9% already are. Well, on a state and local news, this week, Ron Sieber was named the next president and CEO of the Kansas Grain and Feed Association. On November the 15th, Sieber will become just the sixth person to hold the KGFA top executive position since its inception in 1896. Sieber will also be the president and CEO of the KGFA's longstanding management contractors, the Kansas Agribusiness Retailers Association, and Renew Kansas. He's succeeding longtime president and CEO Tom Tunnell, who was president and CEO for more than 37 years. Now, he announced earlier this year that his intention is to retire at the end of March of 2018. Sieber joined KGFA in July of 2008 as the head of government affairs and then became promoted to senior vice president of government affairs in 2011. He's a native of El Dorado. And starting next week, USDA will be mailing ballots to eligible farmers and ranchers for the 2017 FSA County Committee elections. Ballots must be returned to the local FSA office by December 4th to make sure the vote is being counted. Newly elected committee members will take office January 1st of next year. At the National FFA Convention, Austin Nordyke from the Hugoton FFA chapter was awarded the 2017 American Star in Agribusiness as the National Agriculture Proficiency winner in the Entrepreneur and Placement. He worked in turf management. Overall, Kansas had 15 individuals and 9 teams placed in the top 10 in a multitude of competitions. Find more ag news anytime at KansasAgReport.com. Up next, we'll talk online auctions with Aaron McKee from Purple Wave. Stay with us. You're watching the Kansas Ag Report.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
We're in Manhattan, spending some time now with Aaron McKee, the founder and CEO of Purple Wave. Aaron, I want to spend a few moments with you talking about a little bit about your business, but really the auction business, especially online auctions. And Purple Wave has been in business for a number of years, and so I guess kind of give us your take on how things are going right now in the online auctions.
Man, things are going really good with the online auctions for us and for the entire marketplace, but buyers are getting more comfortable with the process of bidding online. It gives people more time to investigate. We don't move equipment around as much. Certainly the pricing transparency of the prices being posted online afterward is a big value to all segments of the equipment market. And all in, it's just been a really positive experience for us and our clients and customers.
We all know where the ag economy is right now, so what are you seeing? Are you seeing kind of that same trend in the auctions? Are you seeing more assets, as the machinery and the other things you're selling? Is that going up based on because the economy, people maybe need cash or are downsizing some?
We are seeing some sales that are inspired, probably what we would call a lender-inspired sale, where people are trying to get their balance sheet, propped up a little bit, or they're working to clear some debt. In fact, farmers have been a lot more resilient than we probably expected them to be in a lot of ways, and that's super positive. And I think lenders and their farmer borrowers are working together well to find paths to sustainability. And really, that's something we always encourage, is that those entities work together, because even if equipment needs to be sold, it's a lot better if they're working together than going at each other.
Well, as we look at the online auction business, there seems to be a lot of people getting into it. So I'm sure, like every business, there are some that do well and some that are still trying to learn. Talk about how you've grown from where you started to where you are now. I know it's a very interesting story. We don't have all day to talk about it, but
So really, we've been selling equipment online now for 15 years plus, and the buyer community that we've built over time, a lot of the people that bid in 15 years ago are still bidding today. And it takes time in any community of buyers to build trust and to get a critical mass of buyers. But that's the thing that's really helped us to be so competitive, is that we have such a large community of buyers with different types of buying needs and across the entire Midwest, and that they're there day in, day out looking for equipment that's for sale on Purple Wave. And that really gives us a leg up to competitors that try to come into the marketplace without an established buyer community.
We're talking with Aaron McKee with Purple Wave Auctions here in Manhattan. We'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment. You're watching the Kansas Ag Report.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Well, thank you for joining us. And Aaron McKee, the CEO and founder of Purple Wave Auctions, is joining us. And we've been talking about especially online auctions because that's what you do, and that's one of the things. I guess maybe take us back to that time when you decided that was the route to go.
Sure. Well, we started doing live auctions, and we were really passionate about live auctions, and started doing internet auctions or internet inventories before we even did internet bidding to represent the assets. And so we had buyers that were there for the assets that we had instead of there for a deal. And over time, we started to put some of our equipment online only, and we weren't doing a live auction, and we found out that the buyer community was so much larger online that the assets that we didn't do a live auction on were actually bringing considerably more money than the ones that we were doing a live auction on. And there's some obvious costs and transaction barriers to a live auction that don't exist with an internet auction. So we were pretty much, I always say, we were kind of put ourselves out of the live auction business by being too good at the internet auction business.
Mm-hmm. So with that, I mean, it's a process rather than having somebody, the auctioneer, banging the gavel and doing things. It's a speedy process when especially towards the end when those items come up.
The close is certainly a speedy process, but one of the biggest differentiators between an internet auction and a live auction is we start the bidding several weeks before the item closes, and that gives us time to find the buyer that actually wants the asset. So what we're not trying to do is to create chaos or to try to confuse people. What we want is the highest and best bidder for the asset that can use it the most and pay the most for and still get a good deal. So really we feel like the amount of time that we have online because of that bidding being open allows us to find that entire buyer community, but all things must come to an end. And in the auction, when it does come to a close, it becomes a decision for the people, right, and an answer for the people who are selling. So I would say if you don't think it's a real auction, you should sit with a seller or sit with some buyers because I guarantee there's some real emotions in play.
Now, if folks, maybe they're not a subscriber, not one of your customers, how easy is it to in a sense, get that buyer number and be ready to go?
Sure. Well, it's just a few minutes. You go online and fill out a little bit of information. You put in bank information, and we'll follow up and make sure that that's confirmed, or put in a credit card, which verifies who you are, and you can be bidding, in the middle of the night in just a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting stuff. So so folks, what that website again, and all the different things. You have all those sales that are coming up, and then they're always changing, always adding new things.
Always adding new things every day. There's usually several thousand items that are for sale, and everything's no reserve. So everything's going to sell to the highest bidder no matter what it brings. And that's one of the other big differentiators of Purple Wave is that it's a true marketplace, and we don't allow the sellers to bid on their own assets. So if you're a buyer and you're the high bidder, there's always some opportunity that exists in a marketplace like that. So
right, that's good. Well, one of the speaking of assets, one of the great assets, one of the great companies of the state of Kansas, Aaron McKee, his family, the folks at the Purple Wave Auctions here in Manhattan, has joined us. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment. I'm Ken Rogers. This is the Kansas Ag Report.
Basis is the difference between the cash price at a specific market and the nearest futures price. That difference reflects costs, such as storage, transportation, and other handling expenses. It also involves local supply and demand, such as when a new buyer, a feed mill for example, enters the market. Tracking basis trends in your market can help you decide whether to sell your soybeans now, enter into a cash forward contract, or hedge with futures and sell later. If you're offered a price above the typical basis in your area, you're getting a good value on your sale. For example, if the current spot soybean price in a local market is 20 cents less than the nearest futures price, and cash price at that market this time of year typically is 50 cents less, the basis is considered strong. That signals the crop should be sold for immediate delivery rather than stored. The relationship between cash and futures prices tends to shift throughout the year due to fluctuating demand and other factors. Over time, those shifts develop into an annual pattern for local markets. Farmers can track basis shifts to make informed marketing decisions. There are some good sources of general basis information online, but farmers need to archive futures prices and cash prices for their local markets to understand whether current basis is strong or weak. You can find a link to K-State's interactive crop basis tool at kansassoybeans.org/production-marketing on the web.
The Center for Disease Control recently announced another outbreak of salmonella linked to live poultry and backyard flocks. So far this year, more than 1,100 people in 48 states have gotten ill. Of all these cases, nearly 250 people were hospitalized and at least one death has been reported. Owning backyard chickens and other poultry can be a great experience. However, it's important to consider the risk of illness, especially for children and the elderly, from handling live poultry or anything in the area where they live and roam. Live poultry may have salmonella germs in their droppings and on their bodies even when they appear healthy and clean. The germs can get on cages, coops, feed and water dishes, hay, plants, and soil in the area where the birds live and roam. Germs also can get on the hands, shoes, and clothes of people who handle the birds or work or play around them. People become infected with salmonella when they put their hands or other things that have been in contact with live poultry in or around their mouth. Young children are more likely to get sick because their immune systems are still developing and they are more likely to put their fingers or other items into their mouths. These outbreaks are a reminder to follow steps to keep your family healthy while enjoying your backyard flock. Always wash hands thoroughly with soap and water right after touching live poultry or anything in their area. Adults should supervise hand washing for children. Do not let live poultry inside your house. Do not let children younger than 5 years of age handle or touch chicks, ducklings, or other live poultry without adult supervision. For more information about salmonella, visit www.cdc.gov.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel, made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
In another example of the Trump administration's commitment to regulatory rollbacks, USDA announced last month the interim final rule for new livestock marketing regulations has been withdrawn. The proposed Grain Inspection, Packers and Stockyards Administration, or GIPSA rules, would have limited livestock producer marketing options, compelled buyers to offer lower bids across the board to avoid the appearance of preference, and created a situation encouraging legal challenges in the marketplace. The rules were set to go into effect October 19th. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association, Kansas Livestock Association, National Pork Producers Council, and other groups applauded U.S. Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue for rolling back the rules. If the rules had been implemented, it would have caused unintended negative consequences on the people it was meant to protect. Livestock producers widely agreed the interim final rule, proposed by the Obama administration as it went out of office in December 2016, would have severely damaged marketing programs that better match cattle and beef production with consumer demand. These programs, developed by producers, effectively transfer market signals from consumers back to ranchers and feeders, allowing the beef industry to better meet demand. Most livestock organizations have opposed the GIPSA rules since they were introduced in 2010.
Good morning. I'm Derek Hermish with Paragon Ag. One of my favorite Mark Twain wisdoms is, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. I keep that quote written down next to me at my desk as a reminder of what can happen if you start to think you know what the market is going to do. Right now, the corn market has given the appearance that it will go nowhere forever. However, forever is a long time, and the trip to nowhere usually doesn't take as long as you thought it would once you've got it in the rearview mirror. The price of corn will move at some point, and believe it or not, one of the directions it could move is up. Now, that should not be the first thought in your mind, to the point that it prevents you from selling your grain. But it probably shouldn't be clear in the back either. I'm certainly not calling for big changes anytime soon, but I don't know. And knowing what I don't know keeps me out of trouble. Some things I do know are that this marketing year I heard a fella quoted as saying $6 beans are so obvious it's scary, back in the spring. To another gentleman on TV back in late July recommending to not make any cash corn sales for this marketing year until at least 425 because we were headed higher. Now, they didn't use the words they knew, but they sure seemed pretty confident. We might go nowhere here for quite a while, but don't get carried away in thinking that you know or listening to somebody that says they know what that to be the case, because that's how you get into trouble. I'm Derek Kermish. Have a good day.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Well, that's this week's show. You can find more ag news and information or watch the show again online at KansasAgReport.com. I'm Ken Rogers. Thank you for watching the Kansas Ag Report.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.